Hey, good morning, everyone, and thanks for attending today. Today's workshop is our Genesis Bot workshop, and we're going to be focusing specifically on the web services bot. Now, if you attended our session, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, I gave you an overview on how to configure a data gathering bot. Today's focus will be on a web services bot and how you bring those pieces together in the Genesys Cloud platform. And more specifically, I'm going to walk us through the steps and take us through the Genesys Cloud Dialog Engine. But before we get into this topic, let's talk about what's up and coming. So our bot previously planned for this Thursday and workshop is scheduled for next Tuesday. We pushed it out to March 4th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it'll be the same topic, Genesys Cloud Bot Workshop, but it'll be focused on planning your project, putting the pieces together so that you can have a successful and even flow process. And then on March 11th at 12 noon Pacific, this is a 2-hour session hosted by Ring Central. And it's a leadership webinar with Leif Babin. And he is a Navy SEAL, and it's the name of the leadership webinar is Champion the Leader Within, Adapt to Win. So if that's something that piques your interest, it's a different sort of webinar than the ones we've been conducting recently, but I do encourage you to attend. With that said, let's get into our topic today. And through our topic today, due to the nature of the details we're going to cover today at a very high level, you're likely going to have questions. When you have questions, please reach out to the following phone number and or send an email to contact@inflowcommunications.com. I'm more than happy to work with anyone who would like a one-on-one session about the topic we discussed today. It's a pro bono for customers and non-customers alike. No hooks or no gotchas there. I'm happy to assist when I can. So send an email or call us, and Louis, who you'll meet here in just a moment, will forward the interaction or the communication to me directly. My name is Chris Riccio. I've met many of you before. I see a few of you returning to our webinars, and I appreciate you attending on such a busy time for everyone in the contact center space. I've been doing contact center and technology in general related to the contact center for the last 25 plus years. And this morning, as always, is attending Luis Sauceda, who is our sales project coordinator, who has 7+ years experience and a tremendous help to our team at large. And so, Luis, if you'd like to say hello, now's your time.
Hello, everyone. I hope you have a great day and you enjoy today's webinar. Thank you, Chris.
Great, thanks, Luis. All right, so today's agenda is we're gonna do some quick introductions, and I'll gloss through that and give you a high level of who Inflow Communications is, but I know most of you know who we are. We're gonna cover a Genesys Dialog Engine overview. Now I'm gonna hit some highlights that are actually associated with today's topic and why I chose to put together this specific webinar. We'll also go into configuring a web service in Genesys Cloud. Now, this will be very high level and basics. The intention here is to give you a sense of how everything is interconnected. Then we'll go into configuring a dialog engine bot, which is the bot process that Genesys has built as part of the Genesys Cloud platform. And lastly, I'll show you how the pieces come together in configuring an architect bot. Now, with those topics in mind, there's quite a bit there, so we will be covering very high level so you can map out in your mind the pieces of the puzzle, and then we'll go into further detail in later workshops, and then we'll finish up with summary and Q&A. As always, if you have questions, feel free to interrupt by using your communication portal on the right or wherever you may have placed it through a chat session, or raise your hand and I'll ask Luis if there are questions. So for those of you new to Inflow Communications, who is Inflow Communications? To make this story short and sweet, we are solely focused on unified communications and contact center solutions. That is our craft and our practice. We're not looking to sell you everything under the sun. We're solely focused on those two ventures as far as the customer experience is concerned. We are a ShoreTel Mitel Platinum partner. We are Genesys #1 partner nationally and globally. Globally, we are their #5 partner. We're also a Ring Central preferred partner. We have offices across 10 states, over 200,000 endpoints and 800 customers, but I think our sole focus, aside from all these items, is that we are maniacal about customer service. Here's a smattering of some of our clients, names you most likely know or have eaten at: Domino's, Driscoll's, Zillow, and ThyssenKrupp, some of our premier clients. Now let's get into the Genesys Dialog Engine. This is the topic of today, which is our bot workshop. I have a couple of slides to show you, then we're actually going to get right into the application itself. So by way of an overview, the benefits of the Dialog Engine that's included with the Genesys Cloud platform, or that can be enabled with the Genesys Cloud platform. While there are many benefits, the focus of today's discussion is it's a single product built into Genesys Cloud. One of the advantages of having Dialog Engine there is that it satisfies one of my key issues when I consider bots and contact center together. Oftentimes, bots are a separate application that don't have any direct contact center awareness. They don't know who's available and what's happening in your queues or your environment. With the bot being built directly into Genesys, we remove that obstacle and there is no blind interaction that goes into the contact center. The second piece, which I think is highly effective and gives clients a tremendous advantage, is that the Genesys Dialog Engine bot uses existing integrations and data actions that may already be configured in your Genesys application. So we have many clients who are on Genesys Cloud and they have many integrations, usually to a CRM or a database of some sort. They usually, at this point, are using it through their IVR process or maybe screen pops at the agent desktop. But as they start venturing through their next phase of deployment of customer experience and they want to consider using a bot, they can use those same services in large part to complement their bot process. What that really means in translation is you don't have to reinvent the wheel, you don't have to restructure web services or rewrite new web services. 9 times out of 10, we can use existing web services. And that leads me to bullet point number 3. The Genesys Dialog Engine bot leverages existing web services that are already used in your contact center solution. So let's go ahead and skip past that and let's get right to building a bot. So I'm going to log into, and I actually believe I'm already logged into Genesys Cloud, so this should look familiar to you. And since the topic of today's discussion is web services and configuring a web services bot, the first thing we need to establish is that we have an active web service. So inside Genesys Cloud, when you go to admin and then you go to your integrations panel on the right, or at least your drop down bucket here, I'm going to go directly to my integrations. Now under integrations here, I've got several integrations, one of which is a web services integration. So if I go to the bottom here, you can see my several web services integrations. The way I got to the web services integration is in the upper right-hand corner. I hit the integrations button. Thankfully, what's built into Genesys is the web services, what I loosely call the plugin down here at the bottom. Once I have my plugin identified, to install it, you select install. Now it will come up with the next iteration. We'll call this new. And the next piece you'll do is go into credentials. You'll configure your credentials here and you'll pick your authentication process or method. And it can be OAuth, it can be user defined, it can be basic authentication. And then you're going to then add your username and password or however you've configured the system. Once I have that established, that's all I need to do, and I hit save. And I won't be saving that for today's presentation, but what happens when you add an integration, and I think this is critical to understand. When you add an integration, actions on the left are automatically created as part of the integration. I point this out because many times when you're looking to create an integration, you need a starting point. And this is where Genesys excels. You can see at the top here that I have my web services data action on the right highlighted. And they've given me an application here that's for a calendar reminder. However, I'm not necessarily going to use that. Instead, I'll go on the right. I'm going to copy my action for one purpose only. I want the container so that I can rewrite my process to a web service that makes sense for me. So at the top here, I can rename the web service. Oops, let's learn to type today. Thank you. And I'm going to go into my setup. Now, if you're new to JSON and web services, I'm going to attempt to simplify this. This is basically the container of information that you're going to request from the user, in this case, your IVR, your bot, etc. What information do I need to be able to locate the customer details? From there, you're going to have what's known as an output or an output contract. This is where I will overwrite things. Let's say I'm going into a database and I want to get the customer's first name. So I'm going to type in first name. And then I do the same thing. I'll go down next and I'll say name last. And the reason I choose to do it this way is because all my variables, which are name, first, middle, last, are in one area. My point in showing this to you is that I can use the container to rewrite what information I'm expecting. And what's nice is that since the template's here, I don't have to write it from scratch. Now, I'm not going to write the entire thing here, but then the next step is once you've configured your form, you're going to have a configuration page. Now, in the configuration page here, on the right, I'm going to pick what sort of event. Most of the time, it's a post. If it's not a post, it's likely a get. From there, I'm going to point to the URL that I'm going to send my data, and you'll have likely maybe some header information. It really depends. But here's the key piece here. In the request body, I'm going to insert the information that I'm looking for as part of my request. Now, if this is not something you do on a regular basis, not to worry. I just want to give those folks who are familiar with it on the call today at least an overview. Then down below, I'm going to hit my response. So at the top, we did our request. I'll close that. You can see request and response. In my response, I already have a container that will accept my data. Now, in this case, what I might do with my container is I need to translate the information coming back to me. So you'll often see something like this. I'm expecting to get account information, so I'm going to call it account info from my database, and it's coming back to me as an account X. This is how I map my information. Then down below here, I'm going to type in account, uh, and I'll do something along these lines. Excuse me. And then I will type in the name I gave it above in curly brackets. These are known as liquid variables, but I won't go much further than this. And this is how we structure the system to say, hey, when I get the information back, I would like to label something called account info, and that's where I'm going to match my data information. Now, all of this leads up to our testing panel here. What we're ultimately doing is setting up a way for us to test the system in real time before we actually go live. So now I'm going to show you a live working example here with one I've already got set up. You can see that my structure is the same. I've pointed to different places, but I'm going to come right here and type in a phone number. And you can see I have my web service successful and my data has come back. Now, because I have an active web service, I can now engage that with my bot. Now, one of the key things we're going to do with our bot is create an option that will get account information by phone number. So I'm going to select new bot, and I've logged into the dialog engine at the top. Once you have a username established and you have dialog engine established, you don't have to enter your password. When you navigate to it, it'll automatically authenticate you. In our case, we're going to go to new bot. I'm going to say get account info is what we're after. And I could put my welcome greeting here. Hi, this is Betty the bot. How may I assist you today? All right, so now it'll create my bot. Now in the bot structure, I need to establish at least an intent. And since we're going to be sending data to that web service, we're going to need a slot. On the left here, an intent is simply a dialogue or a conversation of a specific task. So an intent might be get my account information, pay my current bill, cancel my current order. In our case, we're going to create an intent, and I'm going to give it a very tricky name called get my account info. Make it very simple. Once I have an intent, I need to actually satisfy information that likely clients are going to request. So that's known as an utterance. What sort of dialogue am I looking for? So I might hear a customer say, can I get my account information? I'd like my account balance. I need some account info. And you just need to put enough iterances just to get the conversation started. From there, artificial intelligence and machine learning will pick up and start taking every interaction or request that clients either type in through a chatbot or vocalize in order to do an identity match to figure out what is the client asking for. So I'll just enter these three. Now, obviously, if I'm going to be entering account information and communicating with a client, I'm going to create a slot. Now, a slot is something that I need from the customer so that I can match it to something else, such as looking for an account number. So I'm going to say phone number because I want to request from the client a phone number. So I'm going to use number. Now, the prompt is, how will I request that information? I'm going to say, great, I can help you with that. What is the phone number associated with your account? Question mark. I will press enter and save. Now I have a working bot that will answer the question and get the account information. So I'm on the right hand side, I'm going to hit save. Oh, I'm going to do one more thing. Let's go back to our utterances. We need to match the slot request to the customer request. So I'm going to go here to account and I'm going to say, great, get a phone number. When the client asks for account balance, I'm going to say, awesome, ask for a phone number. When they ask for account information, I'm going to get a phone number. This is how the system says, hey, when I see the communication, and now that I've identified three options where it says account, it's going to know that anytime it sees the word account, that's my key word, or balance or information, it's going to say, great, I'm going to ask for your phone number, and that's why I have my slot here. You'll also notice the slot is flagged as required. Now let's go on the right, save our bot. Now what our bot is doing is learning. Our bot is going to take the information we've just typed in and will let me know when it's ready so I can test it. So let me stop here, Luis, and see if we have any questions. And for those of you hanging on for the ride, I appreciate it.
No, we don't.
Okay, great. So my bot has been trained, and I want to test my bot before I go into configuring my flow. So over here on the right, I hit the bot. I can say hello, and you'll notice it'll say, hi, this is Betty the bot. How may I assist you today? I need some account information. You notice I didn't write the same thing. Great, I can help you with that. What is your phone? What is the phone number associated with your account? 760-555-1234. Goal reached. That means it has successfully been able to interpret the need based on the request. This is a bona fide working bot. Now, obviously, there are many more things you would add to this bot, but this is how you start the game. Now, once I've tested it, I've got a goal reached on the right. On the far right, I'm going to hit publish this bot. Now, you can give it a description. I don't normally give it a description because I don't think it's required. Because once we get into Architect, it now says this version is now live. Once we get into Architect, I'll go there now in Genesys, I can now see the bot and the architect will let me interact with the bot. So now I'm going to build my flow. So in Genesys, architect is responsible for intercepting web chat, messaging, any sort of communication with clients. In my case, I'm configuring this as a web chat. So I'm going to go into my web chat that I have pre-configured, but I'm going to show you that my bot is there. It's available for use, and now I need to just configure an option. So this is a bot I have currently working. However, I'm going to create something from scratch so you can see that there are no smoke and mirrors, and I'm going to call my task get account info, and I might do a little bit more. I'm going to say chatbot get account info. Now I'm going to come over here in my playing field or my design screen, and the first thing I might want to do is send a message when someone arrives. So I'm going to drag in my message. I'm going to hit standard, and my expression is going to be literal. Hi there. This is Betty the bot. How may I assist you today? Now, I did have this message already in my bot. My purpose in showing this is that you have to think about your bot in the larger picture. What we did with our intent could be one subsection of your bot. So in this case, it may be appropriate to say, uh, welcome to our self-service bot. How may I assist you today? Now from here, I've got an initial greeting. Now the next thing I want to actually engage my bot. So on the left, I'm going to go to my data actions. I'm going to drop down to call dialog engine bot and drop this into place. What you'll notice right away on the right-hand side is that I'm able to navigate to my bot, and this is the one I just created, get account info. Now what you'll also notice as soon as I pointed to it, it found my intent. Remember, we created this intent over here called get my account info. And now when I navigated to IVR, which is the web chat, I can see my intent directly here. Now, you'll notice that I have no intent and failure. This is oftentimes when someone asks a question that doesn't match your bot, and so you still want to send a message to the user. So I always configure the no intent, and I always configure the failure. And what I do here is I will change my discussion point on the right again to literal, and if I'm in the no intent, meaning I couldn't find a topic or an intent that matches what you're asking me, we could do something like this. I don't quite understand you. Let me get you to one of our customer care specialists. If I can pack this here for assistance. So it's a great way to always ensure that your client is going to be greeted with communication. As far as failure is concerned, I may not put a response here. I might just do a notification. You have options for a notice or a standard. In this case, I'm going to just say over here, I'll go to literal again. And in here, I'm going to type in the body. Let me connect you with our customer care specialist. Now from there, the rest of the process kind of flows itself. Now the critical piece here is you see where we have get my account info. The next thing we want to do is once we've asked the user for their data, we're going to call our data action that I pointed to. So now here on the right, excuse me, the left, I'm going to drag get call data action. You'll notice on the right, what pops up right away is that I have to select which data action I'm looking for. And so I point to the one where the web services that we were just playing with is right here, web services SQL. Now, what's automatically going to happen on the right-hand side is to say, great, I see from the bot, you've asked them for the phone number. How will I collect that phone number? So I'm actually going to store the phone number into a temporary holding place that I'm going to use to negotiate my conversation. So this here will be my flow number. Okay, let's just do this. Okay, let me create something else. What I want to do is first update my data. Let me do this, update data. The data is how I'm going to grab information, and I'm going to assign this here, flow details, and then I'll enter the number which I collect from my bot. The next thing is I'll call my data action with some details in it. From here, I'll point to my flow process, but down below on the right, my data action expects to give me information. So I will change my variable options here on the right to be able to consume the information coming back to me that I can use for the bot. So here, flow account number, I'll create a process called flow account number. I'll create one called flow start date. What this is really doing is that it's allowing me to capture the information coming back from the web service. so that I can use it with the communication with the customer. So here, flow account, sometimes I abbreviate account to ACCT, but you get the gist here. I'm just grabbing all the details, mapping them accordingly. And the reason I'm using flow as a precursor to my variable is that I want to use that throughout the flow no matter where it goes. You can create options. You can create options that actually flow from task to task, but in this case, I actually want to use the data web service so I can speak something back or communicate back to the client. Now, once I've satisfied the outputs here, in my flow, you have on the left success, failure, and timeout. Obviously, in a success, we're going to then start sending responses back to the client. And in this case, I'll build a conversation that lets me do a string builder. With string builder, what you're going to do is build your statement. So you might do something such as, let's do text first. We have located your account information. Your current account balance is, now I want to get my data expression. So I'm going to go to data and I'm going to pull up the information flow dot whatever I've got for account balance. And you can see it's right there. So this is a simple way that we've connected the web service to the bot. And inside the flow process, we're able to translate the information and communicate with the web service and bring the details back in a conversation here. And this was the ultimate response that we would get from the bot process. Now, I'm not saving this. This was a very quick overview. I would like to have the opportunity to work with you, or if you're interested, I'd love to get feedback on what obstacles you encounter in your customer service journey. And of course, building a bot is part of that process. Let's end up with our summary. The Genesys Dialog Engine is built for bots. Obviously, it's built for ease of configuration. It's one of the key things I look for. Despite the web services component where it takes a little more technical know-how, the system is built so that you can build things out quickly and efficiently. And I find that junior technicians in IT or someone with that sort of analytic mind can build a process fairly quickly. The bot itself with Genesys is contact center aware. It's part of the contact center solution. So whenever the bot encounters an issue and needs to transfer out to the representative, it is never a blind transfer. All the communication from the bot goes directly to the agent so they know exactly what the account number is or what information was gathered before they reached the agent destination. It leverages Genesys Cloud Architect Flow Builder as you saw, and building out a simple bot process is fairly straightforward once you have your web service in place. It leverages existing Genesys Cloud web services integrations, so you really don't have to build something completely from scratch. Currently, I'm working with a client that has many web services already built, and while the web service has parts of the pieces we want, we can still leverage that in part to give them where they need to go live with the bot. And lastly, bots in Genesys Cloud are contact center aware, which in my opinion, from the customer experience point of view, is the most critical part of that transaction. Are there any questions that I can answer for folks at this time, Luis?
Checking. No, no, not yet.
Okay. Now, I appreciate you hanging on for that. It was a very quick, high-level overview. Clearly, there's more technical information, especially as it relates to the web services piece. And if you're not familiar with Architect, it can be, if at first glance, something that will take time to learn. However, we are here to assist you. I have a technician who has many years of experience. I believe I spent 20 minutes with her in a session, and that's all it took. She was able to build a very complex bot because it does derive its structure with simplicity in mind. With With that being said, if you do have questions or you have concerns about the bot or would like to explore how bots can be used, feel free to call us at the following phone number or send an email to contact@inflowcommunications.com. I'm happy to jump on a call with you, your technicians, or just to have a general discussions is the best way that you might use Genesys Dialog Engine to complement your customer experience journey and plans. With that being said, thank you so much for 30 minutes today. Enjoy the rest of your week.